So now we are officially recording. Hello, everyone. Emma, Isabella, Kate, Olivia, and the other Emma. Yes, we miss you all. This is Block C, so welcome to Block C if you are not normally a part of Block C. Okay, so we are going to do our very last scene presentation. Okay, it's the very end of. You okay, my dear?
Yeah.
Okay. Of Act 3, Scene 3. So if you girls would introduce who you are and your objectives, and then you can take it away.
So we're Iago, and our objective is to just kind of like use hesitation to like convince Othello what he's thinking and try to put these ideas in his head.
We're Othello, and our objective is just to kind of figure out what happens, but Iago kind of like poisons us, I guess, and gets really angry.
Okay, good. So those of you listening to the video, we are going to be, and the rest of you actually, we are going to start on page 127 at the very top. Okay.
Nay, yet be wise, yet we see nothing done. She may be honest yet. Tell me with this. Have you not sometimes seen a handkerchief spotted with strawberries in your wife's hand?
I gave her such one. 'Twas my first gift.
I know not that, but such a handkerchief, I am sure it was your wife's. Did I today see Cassio wipe his beard with?
Could be that.
It could be that, or any that was hers. It speaks against her with the other proofs.
Oh, that slave had 40,000 lives. One is too poor, too weak for my revenge. Now do I see 'tis true. Look here, Iago, all my fond love, thus do I blow to heaven. 'Tis gone. Arise, black vengeance, from thy hollow cell. Yield up, O love, thy crown and hearted throne. To tyrannous hate, swell bosom with thy fraud, for 'tis of aspics' tongues.
Yet be content.
Oh, blood, blood, blood!
Patience, I say, your mind perhaps may change.
Never, Iago, like the Pontic sea, whose icy current and compulsive course ne'er feels retiring ebb, but keeps due on to the Propontic and Hellespont. Even so, my bloody thought with violent pace shall ne'er look back, ne'er ebb to humble love, till that a capable and wide revenge swallow them up. Now by yon marble heaven, in the due reverence of a sacred vow, I here engage my words.
Not right yet. Witness you ever burning lights above, you elements that clip us round about. Witness that here Iago doth give up the execution of his wit, hands, heart, to wrong to dull service. Let him command, and to obey shall be in me remorse, what bloody discus ever.
I greet thy love, not with vain thanks, but with acceptance bounteous, and will upon the instant put thee out. Within these 3 days let me hear thee say that Cassio's not alive.
My friend is dead, 'tis done at your request, but let her live.
Damn her, lewd minx! Oh, damn her, damn her! Come, go with me apart. I will withdraw to furnish me with some swift means of death for the fair devil. Now art thou my lieutenant. I am your own forever. So sorry.
Okay, very good. Okay, so what's some significance you noted in this scene?
So Othello kind of turned into a completely different person. We see he's acting more like Iago would, and gets very angry.
Yeah, like his jealousies comes out in the scene fully, I would say, like especially with the bloodline. I think that was like the turning point.
Iago's plan is kind of like starting to happen here, and we see Othello kind of turn into the monster that he's been describing.
And Iago's like promise to like help Othello. I noticed that it sounded like kind of like he was swearing to hell instead of heaven, because he said like ever burning lights instead of like Othello said yon marble heaven.
Good. I love that. All right, thank you. Very good. Yeah, so in a moment we're going to dig in more to Othello's language. But there, I mean, this, what you'll kind of note here is that what's happening is we had this one revenge play, and now we kind of have two revenge plays, right? Or kind of revenges being enacted out. We've got, of course, Iago seeking revenge on Othello, and what's the new revenge plot? Cassio and Desdemona, right? Because we're going to be kind of tracking both of those things now. Because what does Othello basically asks Iago to do? Yeah, you've got 3 days. I'm gonna do a little more before the sun sets on the 3rd day, right? Yeah, he's got to kill Cassio within 3 days, and then Othello himself decides at the end to do what? To kill Desdemona. So he's going to figure out some way to do it. You're reading over the weekend; it will tell you how. This wonderful plan that him and Iago. It's just so awful. But so prepare yourselves for that. For the end of the weekend. He doesn't kill her over the weekend, but you will get to find out how he plans to do it over the weekend. Look at what he calls her: a fair devil. It's an example of what device? It's an oxymoron. Okay. What does that tell us? What does he think about Desdemona?
Well, she's like, even though she's beautiful and things, that beauty isn't really representative of like her own inside.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's like her beauty creates an illusion, and it's like appearance versus reality, because in reality she's the devil, but she's fair.
Okay, good. So you're gonna say, Alexi?
like the recurring theme of appearance versus reality.
Nice. Good. Dawn?
Also, I think kind of he's still kind of confused as far as emotions, because he still loves her, but then he is now like feeling differently about her. He sees her in a new way.
Definitely. He's kind of become a new person. Do you remember a few scenes before we saw that use of an afro where he was like, farewell, farewell, farewell. We had talked about him saying goodbye, right, to the old Othello. And here we see the new one. Arise, black vengeance, right? Fill up this hollowness with sort of evil, vengeful intentions, right? So it is this sort of new version. Alexi and then Ellery.
And I think like before this, when he was talking to Iago, he said when he saw Desdemona, his love would like overcome him. So I think this line reveals that he doesn't feel that way anymore. Like he knows who she truly is. His love can't overcome him anymore.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's not enough anymore. Good. Ellery?
I think that like because he loves her so much, that's what's making it even worse. Because he's so like enraged with all of his emotions that they're kind of overpowering him. I feel like if he wasn't as in love with her, it wouldn't affect him as much.
That's
Like,
probably
it wouldn't hit him as hard.
Yeah. So we could almost say that his love for Desdemona is yet another vulnerability, right, or weakness, perhaps. I like that.
Also, because like Desdemona does truly love Othello, he feels so fooled because he feels like it was just an act she was playing on the whole time, even though because he doesn't realize that it actually is true love.
Okay, good. And so yeah, he definitely feels wounded then in that way. Well, before we look at the details of his language, let me ask you a couple of questions here. Why do you think Shakespeare would put this scene at the middle of the play? Right. So if you think about a Shakespearean tragedy, they very kind of standard, right, follow this plot line, right? You know, you guys have seen this before, certainly. What do we call this point here? The climax, right? Okay. So I mean, almost every Shakespeare play it happens in Act 3, right? And in this one, it really happens in this particular scene, right? Act 3, Scene 3. Why is this the climax? Why this kind of prolonged conversation, right, between Iago and Othello? Why is this considered the climax? Alexi?
Well, this might just be me, but I think it's when like tensions are at their highest.
Mhm.
Like, everyone's emotion and like passion just overcomes them the most so far in the play. In this.
Okay. Good. Danae?
Because the climax is usually the turning point in the plot, and we see that Othello's feelings for Desdemona shifts over to hatred.
Okay. Good. Elise?
Or like what Danae said, it kind of puts the rest of the play into motion.
It definitely, everything that happens after is going to be because of this new emotional response. Julie?
Well, I think that before this we've been hearing like Iago's plan, so this is the point where like it really, it's kind of like unknown what's gonna happen next, because we've known like what Iago is like planning for, and now it's like what's gonna happen because of that.
Ooh, that's good. Again, remember his plan was to make Othello insane, basically, right? Kind of wildly jealous, and now we have to wait to see how that turns out. Stephanie and then Chloe.
Also, I know what Alexi said. It's when passion takes over Othello's rationality and self-control. So he's now turning into that second Iago.
Yes, Iago 2.0. Okay, good. Chloe?
This is when his like jealousy is at its peak. Like this is when he vows to kill Desdemona, and then like the end of the story is gonna be what his jealousy causes him to do, and the beginning was like what leads up to the jealousy.
Okay, very good. And I think what makes this play so different than other Shakespeare plays is that, again, our climax, our turning point, it's all words, right? And this play is so much about words. It's about Iago's rhetoric, right? Iago's ability, right, to sort of use words to taint people. Unlike if you think about Romeo and Juliet, the climax was Act 3, Scene 1, where Tybalt kills Mercutio, right? And then Romeo kills Tybalt. I mean, that is a scene of action, right? This scene, not so much, right? It's not a scene of action, but it's a scene of sort of verbal warfare, right, that happens between Othello and Iago. So that said, right, think about the balance of power in this scene. What's sort of the power dynamic at the start of the scene, and what's the power dynamic at the end of the scene? We think about it in terms of kind of verbal warfare. How does the power dynamic shift in this scene? Steffi? And then Kat?
Othello had way more to say about defending the fact that Desdemona is faithful to him in the beginning of the scene, but now Iago has used his very manipulating diction to convince Othello that Desdemona is cheating on him.
Okay.
So it's kind of like there's a shift in power between Othello to Iago.
Okay. Kat?
Well, like, not only words, but like Othello like kneeling down kind of represents like him going down to Iago's level. I feel.
Nice.
So kind of like shows how Iago holds the power over him for him to go down to his level.
Ooh, I
So
like
being
that.
like the bigger man.
And interesting to note that Othello kneels first, right? Almost, and again, maybe it's to represent him being sort of closer to, hell and, lowering himself, but it does also place him beneath Iago for that moment. Julie?
I think we mentioned this in one of the other classes, but like in the early part of the scene, Othello's like responses were really short. And so I feel like in the beginning, Iago was like, he was talking a lot more because he was trying to convince Othello. And now at this point, like Othello's already convinced, and like Othello's trying to plant the idea that now they're planted in Othello's head. He's like saying similar things to Iago.
Okay. Alexi?
Yeah, going off of that, I was gonna say that. But I think it really shows the power dynamic because not only in the scene but in like Act 1, you're talking about how it shows Iago's authority that he talked so much. But now Othello is speaking the same amount, if not more, and that shows like how his authority and like self-confidence and power has grown.
Okay. Natalia?
Yeah, I think in the beginning of the play, Iago was like constantly trying to get in Othello's like head and like attacking like a lot. Like I don't know how else to describe it. Like little attacks, just like constantly attacking. But now that he's got what he wants, he got Othello in the place where he wants. He's kind of like stepping back and letting it just play out.
Yeah. So beautiful. He really can. Like, all right, I've done my work. Right, let's see. Although in 4.1, you read part of it. He will kind of continue to attack Othello a little bit there, so kind of look for that. He'll say some rather bold things to Othello in that scene. Isabel, do you want to add anything?
I don't know, I was basically just gonna say what Natalia said about how now he's stepping back and letting just like the jealousy take over Othello. So.
Right. It's like green-eyed monster, right? All it has to do is now devour him, right? He's planting that seed. Okay, so I want us to really dig in and look. We've already kind of started, but look more specifically at Othello's language. So you all have that handout out, or if you don't, go ahead and take it out. The one that said, oh, blood, blood, blood. And this is where you were supposed to look for lines, right, that kind of reveal Othello's state of mind. So we're going to do some work here on language and tone, right? Really kind of thinking about how Othello's language, right, the diction he's using, the imagery he's using, and his tone reveals something about his state of mind. Here's my big hint, it's not even a hint. You're going to be writing a paragraph over the weekend on this exact thing. So we're going to do some of the work together right now, right? So that then all you have to do is compose it, okay, into paragraph form. And so really this handout you filled out is going to be the basis of this. But to make it a little more interactive and to save something for posterity, I'm gonna need at least one person, or we're gonna need one person at your table to pull out a device, okay? Because I'm actually gonna let you do the recording on the smart board, but we can do it through, kind of your typing. So one person at your table, just one person, and this person will be the scribe for your table. Just take out a device, and go ahead and, go to the website hellosmart.com. Okay, so just go to hellosmart.com. If you had Mrs. Pontrelli last year, you may have done this. Yeah? Okay. So hellosmart.com. You don't even need to have an account. It asks you to sign, to create an account, but you can actually sign in as a guest if you want to. Hellosmart.com, and then type that in as the class code. 34243. Okay. 342. Oh, I need to get rid of these other students. Hold on, I'm gonna have to reset this thing. I'm gonna remove those people. Okay, so now try it. Okay. 34243. So should we basically, what, 6 of you?
For a name, can you put just our name or like our groups?
You can put your group, it doesn't matter, really. It will record a name with the response, but it doesn't. Yeah, you can do initials at your table. So we'll see. So let's see it. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. There should be 2 more. All right, one more. One more. It's loading? Okay. So what you should see is that there are going to be 3 categories there, but I'm going to assign a category to each table. Okay. So you're going to have an opportunity, I think, that you can post as many as 3 items, and that's it. That's all we're really going to have time for or space for, because unfortunately it won't let me make that chart bigger, and I don't know why. That actually really drives me nuts. So we don't want to overload it because we won't be able to see anything. So I'm going to assign you categories right now. Okay. You girls are going to be the Othello is loving and rational category. Okay. You girls are also going to be Othello is loving and rational. I'm trying to get numbers balanced since we've got about 6 here. You girls, this kind of table of 4, and you 2, you're going to get the second category, which is Othello is conflicted. Okay, kind of doubtful. And then you girls over here, this table and this table, you're going to get Othello is a jealous monster. Because I only want you to post in your category. So we have all 6. So here's what it looks like, just so you can see. So I'll hit start. In theory, I'll do it from the computer. Okay. So I have sound back, but I've lost like interactivity, which is a little weird. Okay. So I'll hit start, and at this point, you should be able to. I think this goes away. No, that's not what I want. You should be able to go ahead and pull up a category at this point. So, as a group, discuss. What did you find? What did you record on your handout here? What are some choice quotes that really show Othello in that state of mind? And then I'd like you to type the quote in there. You don't have to do the whole thing, but maybe the best pieces of diction, and then give the line numbers. Because afterwards, we'll have a record of all the possible CDs that you could use for your paragraph. Does that make sense? Okay, go for it. So discuss at your table, one person type. So you guys are focus on the second half. Okay, good. Okay, so a little challenge for your group too. In addition to maybe what you have here in the latter half, where he's rational, also go back in your book and look at the start of scene 3 and maybe find moments where it's really clear, right, that he is kind of more loving. Or even that soliloquy we gave or something. You can kind of open yours and go.
For the paragraphs, you can just act 3.
Yeah, it's gonna be super close reading. Yeah. Yeah, we just went close. Yeah, you just type in quotes. Oh, yeah.
Great.
What is it? I cannot make those boxes.
It's like when
So
I rational, I feel like it's more like wait,
I
don't know, weight limit, she's honest.
Oh, I think there is a limit, I don't know exactly what it is.
So I wanted to split it up into one go.
Ooh, I think this first one, I think we said there.
What line am I like?
It was 3.3.
I think. Oh, wait.
And it will be a limit on everything.
I think now or not.
Okay, good, we got you up here. Right. It only allows you 3 per group. So try not to.
Oh, wait, here, we read it up. Okay, I did the.
But it also shows you, if he wants proof, then he does have a believer. So there's something that, if you're perfect,
Yeah. In August. Okay, it was really nice.
even makes the one that they have
No, you can write my level. Yeah, that's not
Ooh, nice. Where are my jealous monster people? There's some other good ones at the end too. Or even yeah, I did all of it.
Wait, no, I can't.
I already done. Okay, okay. Yeah. I think that's a pretty good one.
We have one more response.
You did one job.
Next one's two. I'm bound to this forever.
It's fine, it's fine. We did the
Yeah, we did two. We did two.
Okay, and then we're gonna do no one too. Okay. Okay. What do you think about I think this would work the very well.
My line's kind of early, comma, because it's like released, comma.
I mean, that he's not bending more.
Because it's like never gonna be the same.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that he's still rational enough to be able to say goodbye to us. He recognizes what he's doing, you know what I'm saying?
But he's not to the point where
Look, I mean, like, where he just gets crazy.
okay, I was like,
Okay, now.
okay, categories, loving and rational.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. You girls get it up there? Okay. Do you want it down from the beginning?
Yeah, that's what we need.
What, did I think that thing nice?
Like, oh, yeah.
Here's what you go.
So.
Just enjoy excellent catch my soul, but I do love thee.
Four?
Love thee not. Yeah, this is cool again.
Wait, what?
Alright, is this your third one?
Wait, go.
Or your second one?
This is our third one.
Okay.
Oh.
Alright. Okay, 1 minute. Type up your last quote. You girls are typing that one up. Do it. Yeah. And then we're gonna discuss quickly. Nice. I'm gonna add, oh my god, I was almost gonna take that marker. That would have been interesting.
This one probably almost did that in math today.
Oh, I mean, it happens.
We collaborated.
This is talking about.
This is all working.
We like
The touch is no longer working. That's devastating.
It's like when
Okay.
we started and we haven't even been
Ready?
Oh.
I hate that though.
Okay, submit your last one.
Yes, 30 minutes after school.
Okay. Oh, it won't let me. Darn it. Okay. All right, did we get it up? Ellery, you're so, I'm just rearranging. Relax yourselves. This is the same. Maybe I take back what I said about my calm, dutiful. I'm totally joking. Okay. Good. So what we're gonna do right now, and as some of you are finishing typing, we're just gonna go through these. So in theory, I'd be able to touch the screen. It'll pop it a big. I'm just gonna have to stand behind my desk to be able to do that. So we're not gonna have time to go in great depth with each quote because we have other things to do today. But let's talk about how we could approach this as commentary, right? If you were writing a paragraph, hint, hint, you are writing a paragraph, on how Othello's language and tone reveals his state of mind, how might we pick apart these quotes as evidence, right? So remember, in that kind of commentary, you have to really specifically look at diction and explain kind of what that reveals to us. So we're going to start with Othello as loving and, oh, it's going to go in loving and, I guess it wants to do it that way. That's the first one. Oh no, okay, well we'll start here. Okay, so the first one that kind of comes up, okay, is villain, be sure thou prove my love a whore. Like that me saying whore is on recorded video or recorded sound now. Be sure of it. Okay, why does this quote, because this actually is a quote that I think can be used in multiple categories, but why could it be used to show that he's rational and loving? Isabel?
Just the fact that he's asking for proof shows that like he's not towards that like jealousy and like believing anything that Iago tells him.
Okay, good. So the focus on proof, right? Wanting it certainly shows rationality, and there are. I mean, you can even use a whole collection of quotes where he's talking about ocular proof. I must see it. Prove, right? That there is this part of him that is so incredibly logical and rational that it's kind of bent on the necessity of proof. Okay, Julie?
Obviously it's not like a sweet quote, but he still calls her my love, so like there's still that loving nature that he has.
Yes, it can also work for conflicting, but you're right. The fact that he does still, he hasn't said, think about it at the end where he's like, damn her, lewd minx. At least here, there is this sort of semblance, this reminder, right, okay, that she was cherished in his mind. Good, Stephanie?
He does call Iago a villain.
Oh, okay.
So it's like he's kind of invoking like the idea that Iago could be lying to him and that he hasn't like really shown the proof, so he doesn't feel like
Nice.
yet.
Also love that use of invoking. That's lovely. Okay. Okay, here's another quote that could really show, and this was from earlier in the scene, so I had these groups actually go back kind of earlier to see those moments in scene 3 when he does seem loving. I will deny thee nothing. And he says this to her a couple of times. How does this show a loving nature? He says this to Desdemona. The fact that it's repeated, maybe a repetition is what you could talk about. Isabel?
It shows like how he like basically give up anything just to make Desdemona happy. Show like he is loyal to her.
Absolutely. I mean, he'll give anything.
And also about like his love for her is so strong that he'll do anything.
Yeah, absolutely. So he's willing to sacrifice, right? Okay, for his love for her. Okay, good. If she be false, then heaven mocks itself. Then heaven. Okay, that's fine. Heaven mocks itself. I'll not believe it. Yeah, this is from his soliloquy. You remember the end? We looked at the soliloquy the other day. As she enters, and he says this. Stephanie.
Well, he does compare Desdemona to heaven
Mm-hmm.
because heaven is like his happiness,
Mm-hmm.
and Desdemona is also his happiness. So
Mhm.
like, if she is cheating on him, then like his happiness will just vanish.
Okay.
It'll be miserable.
But does he think in this moment? Does he think she's cheating on him? No. Natalia.
The way he said it is just like, oh, that she can't be like false. No,
Yeah.
like that's no way.
I'll not believe it. Yeah, he completely dismisses it. Chloe.
And in this moment, it's when Iago's making him believe that she had an affair with Cassio, but then after seeing her, his suspicions go away. So like it shows that love again.
Definitely, yeah. And so here's we can also you could even bring in a little bit, if it's relevant, the appearance versus reality. That here he actually takes her for face value, right? As she enters, that she looks heavenly and fair and virtuous, right? We've seen that language associated with her. He sees it and he's reminded of her actual internal virtue, right? It's when she's sort of removed from him, right, and Iago's in his ear that he kind of forgets that. All right, good. So that association of heaven with Desdemona. I am bound to thee forever. Okay. Oh wait, no. I do not think. Yeah, that's Iago. We're gonna go past that. That's okay. Wait. But isn't I am bound? Just okay, that's okay. That's okay. So I think we're okay though with rational. So any kind of where he says I need ocular proof or he's asking for proof, right? I think we have enough for rational loving. That's okay. That's okay. We talked about other ones as we went through. I'm also going to post what we did in block D earlier, so you can even look at some of the other quotes that they might have popped up. Every class picks kind of different ones to look at. Okay, so now let's go to where Othello is conflicted. Okay, why does this show conflict? What bit of diction kind of indicates that? Kira.
Because he needs visual proof of Desdemona having an affair with Cassio, but if he really loved her, he would say, he would give her the benefit of the doubt and actually confront her before actually saying, I need proof from someone else.
Okay. Well, not if he loved her, but if he trusted her,
Yeah.
I think. Because I think he does love her, but it's the trust issue. So you're right. I think the demanding of proof maybe shows rationality, but it also shows doubt, right? Okay, that he needs proof because he is suspicious. So you can certainly, you could note that. I like that it's, I've got to see it, right? Okay. Ooh, okay, here's one, kind of jump to the end. Oh, now, forever, farewell the tranquil mind, farewell content, farewell the plumage troops, etc., etc. Why does this? What kind of here indicates that he's kind of conflicted, beginning to doubt? Natalia?
Well, since he's saying like goodbye to his old self, he's like just starting to turn into this new person.
Okay, I like that, because this is sort of that moment of transition, right? Born out of conflict. And so certainly the use of anaphora suggests that he's sane enough to recognize, that he's, kind of the sort of peaceful Othello, that completely loving, right, Othello, okay, is gone. He's now doubting enough. Good. Okay. This is a great one. I think my wife is honest and think she is not. I think thou art just and think thou art not. Why does this show conflict? And can you identify the device he's using here? Oh, it's like a double trick. Francesca?
It's like, it really shows doubt because it's like I want to believe one part of me, but the other part of me is kind of pulling. It's like, I think she's honest, but then the other part of me is really doubting, so it's showing the transition between rational
Absolutely.
and jealous.
I mean, we see his two conflicting emotions right here. Okay, yeah, I think my wife is honest. She is not. Thou art just. Thou art not. Valerie?
Is this like the Kaya's?
No, and I can see why. That one is because that one's kind of an inversion, right? Where what was the one we had? What was our example of chiasm? I can't remember off the top of my head.
It was
No, it was the something about following.
Where is it?
men cannot
We always
be
followed and not all.
Truly followed.
Yeah, something like that. So that's a little bit different, where you kind of invert the whole phrase. this, think about what Francesca said. It's showing two opposing sides of Othello. Antithesis, right? I think thou art honest. What is the opposite of honest? Not honest, right? I think thou art just. What's the opposite of just? Not just, right? So he's really using kind of antithesis here in phrase form, right? And that is really showing the conflicting, right, kind of emotions within Othello. Kira.
I think it also shows Othello's vulnerability because he doesn't really trust anyone in his life right now because he doesn't even trust
Ooh.
Iago fully. He's still kind of conflicted. Like,
Yeah.
well, maybe I do trust her, but maybe I also trust you.
And what a weird place for Othello to be in, because he is so trusting, right? That's what Iago's taking advantage of, and he's kind of really successfully destroying, right, even Othello's very nature here. Okay, same way we saw before. Villain, be sure to prove my love a whore. Why could this show conflict? Who can talk about it in terms of diction? Mm-hmm.
Well, he uses two opposing words in the same phrase.
Yeah.
So love and war.
Yes.
They're very contradicting to each other,
Mhm.
and he sees Desdemona as one or the other.
Good. Yeah. As well.
So kind of adding on to what Stephanie said, how the fact that they're two conflicting words in like the same sentence shows like at that moment in time, like this part in the scene,
Mm-hmm.
he's very conflicted on what to think of her. So it's kind of like he's calling her love, but also at the same time calling her.
Yeah, he sees her in two totally different ways. So a great way to talk about that, right? His juxtaposition of my love and whore, right? Or he juxtaposes, right, the terms of love and whore, right, to indicate his conflicting, right, views of Desdemona. So that's a great way to use juxtaposition, right? Basically putting these two things side by side, right, to say something to us. Okay. Make me see it. We've kind of already talked about proof a little bit, so I'll skip that one. But you can see there's a lot of repeated, right, kind of demands for proof, which certainly indicates his doubt. Okay, I want to move into the last one because we have some other things to talk about. Well, we'll start here. Well, how does this show he's a jealous monster? How does his language, or what does his language indicate about his state of mind?
It's very different, at least from like how we kind of started.
Yeah.
He's always talked about her in sort of a loving, adoring way, and
Yes.
until now, and now it's like the complete opposite. Like, we just completely destroy her.
Yeah. What adjective, what qualifier could we put to describe this diction? Aggressive. What else?
Or just like it's very blunt and like ruthless.
Ruthless. Okay, maybe more so than blunt.
Animalistic.
Oh, it could be. Oh, like an animal ripping. Oh, I love that. Right. Monstrous.
Yeah, I was gonna say I was thinking tear her to pieces, like that kind of makes me think of like a wolf ripping
Like
an
an
animal or something.
Yeah, I love it. Right. Picture it. Right, so, murderous. Right. Yeah. Savage. Yeah. So his diction has really changed from that. Remember that calm, respectful, authoritative Othello we saw at the beginning of the play. That's not here anymore. So you can really talk about his choice of words. It's not even just, I hope she dies, I hope she goes away, I'm going to divorce her. No, I will tear her to pieces. Right? It's extreme. And how does it end, this quote?
Exclamation mark.
What does that say?
He's yelling.
Yeah, he's yelling. He's impassioned, right? Okay, he's proclaiming this. Okay, I'm going to start yelling. While we're yelling, damn her, Ludwig! So damn her. What about this one? What is this one? Yeah.
Well, he uses an afro.
Ooh, yeah.
With the word damn her.
Yeah.
And that pretty much just shows that he's completely on Iago's side.
Okay, yeah, good. And again, sort of impassioned. What do you notice? Let me see. There might be one more here. Let me see. There's those two. Oh, no, I don't think. No, not that. Well, sort of. This is similar. Right, arise, black vengeance from thy hollow cell. Yield up, O love. Right, thy crown of and hearted throne to tyrannous hate. And when you think about those three together, what are some similarities between those three quotes we just looked at? That if you were going to analyze them as a collection, what do they reveal to us? Kira.
Well, I feel like in the beginning they don't really touch on how Othello is against the racial stigma of the time. Like he doesn't pertain to the norm. So here he says, "Arise, black vengeance." So I feel like it's this part of him that he didn't really show for a while, and then it's kind of like bubbling up inside of him, and like
Yes.
he tried to conceal it, and now it's finally out, like that passionate, animalistic, like passion.
Okay, sort of inviting that to come forth. It actually also reminds me a little bit of Iago's soliloquy where, how did he say, like, there's one where he sounded like a witch. What's that, where he's like, oh,
It's
I
that-
can't remember off the top of my head, but he was like, you know,
He's like,
hell and night come forth, and I don't know.
All in night, God.
Yeah, exactly, that's the one, that's what it sounds like. Okay, but what else do you notice about, like, you can kind of see we have two sentences here. They have all ended
An exclamation.
in exclamation points. What does this reveal to us? What is he feeling? Anger, passion, right? And it's pronounced because there's this sort of repeated exclamations, right? That we can say he's overcome by something, right? And we can really see that in kind of the statements he's making. Think about Othello back in Act 1, Scene 3. I mean, that long, unvarnished tale, right? He told us of your love. How are think about even syntax, how are his phrases a little bit different here? And what do we notice, just in terms of maybe sentence form? Stephanie?
He reminds me a little bit now of Provencio, of how he was talking about Desdemona instead of the way like Othello was talking about him in Act 1, Scene 3.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's like Othello adopted Provencio's way of talking and is just expressing his thoughts wildly.
Ooh.
About.
I like these wild expressions, right, of kind of his thoughts and feelings, right? Certainly degrading, like Banjo, Natalia?
He uses a lot darker imagery
Yes.
compared to like the beginning when
Mhm.
he talked about Desdemona as like heavenly and like a light in his life, and now it's like black vengeance, like hate, tyranny.
Okay, good. Isabel?
I think he kind of touched up on this, but like in the beginning, it was very much dragged out and like in order to be respectful, but it also wasn't very clear what he was trying to say sometimes. And I feel like now it's like very clear what he wants to do with Desdemona, and it's kind of he's more straightforward than he was like in the beginning.
He's much more straightforward, and you were kind of said blunt earlier. Kara?
I feel like he uses a lot of choppy sentences.
Yes.
And he's
This is
very
what I wanted.
quick to judge. Like in Provencio, didn't even give a chance for Othello to like explain his side of the story before he completely condemned him
Good.
in the Duke's court. But now he's literally doing the exact same thing. He doesn't even let Desdemona kind of give a chance, and
Right.
it's kind of like this reverse role.
Good. I like it. Yeah, you're right, though. These sort of choppy exclamations certainly reveal that he's been kind of overcome, that his rationality, his reason, the calm, authoritative, respectful Othello is gone. I mean, he can't even sort of compose full sentences anymore. I mean, at one point he's like, blood, 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 monstrous, monstrous. He's just shouting out, right, kind of these exclamations. And that really also reveals just syntactically, right, kind of what's happened to his state of mind. He no longer has, right, kind of the mental capacity that he did before. He's kind of acting on kind of emotions as opposed to logic and reason. Does that kind of make sense? So you can even approach it that way. Cool. Feel good? Excellent. So let me pass out your prompts while you're still on my side for a moment. Okay, so these should seem just really super familiar, okay, when you read them. Right, and then I am going to pass back your paragraphs, the ones that you revised, at the end of class, and then you can actually then use those as kind of a model as you're writing. Okay, you know, I'm not actually putting your grades in the grade book yet, so I will do that. Okay. So this is a little happy. So everyone is writing the same paragraph this time. Okay? And I have a point to it, which I'll explain in a moment, but let's just cover the prompt first, right? You're gonna write just one paragraph. This is just one paragraph, okay, in response to the following prompt. So jump down the middle here, where it's bolded is where the prompt is. Act 3 is the climax of the play Othello, the moment when dramatic tension is at its highest and when Othello's character makes a critical shift. We just talked about that. Map out Othello's transformation since his arrival on the island. What does the shift in Othello's language and tone reveal about his change of character at Act 3? So you're going to be really analyzing language and tone, like we just did, okay, and explaining what that reveals about his character. So certainly use notes from class today, use handouts. If you want to use this template for the topic sentence, I'm totally fine with that. If you want to modify it, great. If you want to do your own, fine. Because you girls are doing great with claims and you're being really specific, so that's kind of, I want you to practice other things in this paragraph, so I don't mind you using this. Do note, if you use this topic sentence and you put it on Turnitin.com and you check your report, it will show it as unoriginal, okay? Don't freak out. Obviously, if more than one of you uses this topic sentence, it will pull it up as, again, being kind of unoriginal work, and I just ignore that, okay? Yeah.
Is it okay if we talk a little about the beginning of the play?
I would like you to not.
Okay.
Since we have enough quotes in, I'm going to explain why, maybe more so in a moment, just because I want you to have some practice also in a very limited section of text. Chloe?
So we would talk about like when he was rational and then
Yeah.
like how he becomes a jealous monster.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. So essentially, I mean, we know the progression here, right? That he starts kind of loving and rational and then becomes jealous monster. So there are a few different ways you can do this. And you can see, this one is kind of helping you here, that his language goes from blank to blank, which evidence is temperament shift from blank. Okay, to blank. So, one way you could do it, you could just kind of start with Othello is loving, have a chunk on that, and then just jump in the second chunk to, right, kind of jealous monster. Or you could even kind of combine these two possibly, right, okay, in one chunk that, Othello, sort of begins rationally, as he succumbs to, kind of doubt, right, then he becomes this jealous monster. And you could actually, because we've already seen there are some quotes that kind of show both here, so you could really play with that. So you have enough to use, right, that you could just use, Acts 3. Okay, really the point of this is I want you to practice a little bit with style. Okay, you girls are really improving, and these paragraphs I just graded really show that to me. You're really so much better at being specific, really kind of digging into pieces of the quote. What we need to work on is our own language, right, in our own writing in order to make it more interesting. So, let's go back to these bullet points here, okay? This is what I want you to focus on, so I'm kind of upping the ante a little bit in terms of style. So it says, for each CD, so remember, a paragraph has 2 CDs in it, right? That just means 2 pieces of concrete, evidence, right, textual evidence. Each CD can actually have multiple quotes in it, right? A CD can house multiple quotes, and then it's used as one bit of evidence. I'm going to force you to do that this time. Some of you are already doing it, great. Okay, some of you aren't yet, and so this is now your opportunity, okay, to practice with it. So for each CD, I want you to take 2 quotes and pair them together. It's going to take some skillful integration, but it's good practice for you, okay? You can definitely consult that quote integration handout. Remember I gave you at the start of the year? I think there's a section on how to, like, picking and choosing quotes and what that looks like, so go there if you're confused, or, come talk to me. But it's actually going to help you with your commentary. So that's why you can have chunk 1 be loving and rational and conflicted, pull kind of a quote from each box, pair it together, kind of show the more positive Othello, and then boy, we just saw there's a whole collection of fun stuff, right, in Jealous Monster, and you could kind of list a few things that Othello says there and have a lot to talk about. Yeah?
For the commentary, could it be like one sentence regards to one quote and
Yeah.
then regards to
Yeah, you can do that. Or you can even sort of look at things as a collection, like we just did with Jealous Monster. If you note each of these statements, right, he seems to be kind of focused on blah, 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 blah. Yeah, so it gives you a lot more freedom, you'll notice in your commentary. Yeah?
So when you're integrating quotes,
Mm-hmm.
could they be like a separate, like totally separate quote, like I don't know.
From a totally separate
So
section.
like 3.1 and 3.3.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So let me show you. There was one sample, I had it up, that from the last assignment that I thought, here it is. I'm going to encourage you to have some fun with language here. So you can see how she did it, and she did it more as a list, and yours may not necessarily look like this. La, la, la. I mean, I might have the slowest computer on the planet.
Miss Lighter's computer is so slow.
Is it? I mean, slower than this. I don't know. I feel like this one's the living worst, and now it's like not even.
Okay, that rainbow color.
There we go. Okay, so this is my like have fun with language. So if you look at this quote integration, let's see, that should be a little bit better. So she kind of picked 3 different quotes to describe Othello. So she says, in his first attempt, Iago beguiles Brabantio. Oh, that's just fun, right? Okay, it's a good verb, beguiles Brabantio. by calling Othello a thief, the devil, and an old black ram that is tupping Brabantio's white youth. So she picked 3 different quotes, right, but kind of used them as this list. So then she could talk about all of these. It gave her so much to talk about in her commentary because she could really deconstruct each of those metaphors. Does that kind of make sense? So yours may not look exactly like this, but you could set it up in, Othello makes, multiple exclamations, or you might have to insert some of your own language between, right, the two. Does that kind of make sense? Okay, but do this. When you're doing it, you should then put the citation directly after each CD so it's not confusing. Does that make sense? Just as she did here. Okay. Other questions about the quote integration? So this is, I'm just forcing you to do something if you're not already doing it, because I think it's good practice. And it's going to be more of what they want in AP, that idea of picking and choosing kind of the key components of a quote. Yeah?
The quotes, like when we do this, they don't have to go in order of like when they came in text, right?
Well, it depends. If you're talking about his progression, it would make sense, but otherwise it's not necessary.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. All right, so the other 2 bullet points, okay? I'm trying to promote good language. Okay, so it says, consult and use the diction and character adjective list I handed out at the beginning of the year. Anybody remember those yellow sheets of paper that you stuffed in your folders and it's like, or lost or whatever? On one of those sheets, there's all these adjectives just to describe character. Well, this would be a really wonderful time to find some apt adjectives to maybe describe Othello's state of mind. Oh, here they are. There are also adjectives to describe diction, and they may not all work, right? Again, there's adjectives to describe tone, right? But, try to enhance your writing. Did I already tell you in this class how I was yelling at my 7-year-old daughter, 8-year-old, how old is she? 8? My 8-year-old daughter last night. She was doing her weekly writing. It's just, oh my God, it's so boring. And so I was like, Jordan, you need to vary your sentences. You have to add more adjectives. And she was like, erase it, do it again. It was this horrible, crazy night in the Ellis house. So I did the same thing with my daughter that I do with you. I sort of harass her to, right, make her writing more interesting. I was telling her, like, I tell my students the same thing. They need to be more descriptive. She's a wonderful girl, but she's not big on homework in school, so we kind of go ahead with that. Okay, so here's an example, another example of really fun language. I love this. Furthermore, he vilifies Othello. Oh, what a great word. Instead of saying he portrays Othello as a villain, so much meatier to say he vilifies, right, Othello. So think about how you can also really enhance, right, your verse. So I also expect you to consult and use the Vigorous Verbs handout I recently gave you. Okay. This was another fun one. Iago embroils unintelligent and unsuspecting Rodrigo de Span. I was like, oh my God, I was just like loving, right, the use of language here. So that's kind of my goal here. You're doing much better with specific analysis. Keep that up. Don't lose that because that will be problematic. Right? Make sure you're still doing that. But I want to see you make your writing more interesting and vigorous. Okay, picture me at home with you, yelling at you, and making you erase your homework and stuff. I'm joking. Okay, so any questions at all about that assignment? No, we're good? Okay, fabulous. So, to wrap up Act 3,